Welcome back everyone to another day of Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's getting really good now, so let's get started. So here are all the chapters, and we are now more than halfway through because there's 18 chapters. Half of 18 is 9, which is here, and we have read all of the chapters. Before 9, we read all of those, and yesterday we read number 10. So today we are reading chapters 11 and 12. Chapter 11, the title is called A Surprise for Mrs. Fox. Now, what could the surprise be? Now, the surprise could be, if you remember yesterday, Mr. Fox sent his oldest child back to Mrs. Fox with some chickens. So maybe the surprise is that they've got something to eat. They got some chickens. Or it could be maybe that they found a way out. Or I might be totally wrong. It could be something completely different. Those, the two things I said, they're called predictions. So they're my predictions of what might happen. And chapter 12 is called Badger. Ooh, now, Badger. This is a new character. We haven't met Badger before. When we first read the story, there was a page with all the characters on it. Can we remember what Badger looks like? Well, if you can't, here we go. Here's Badger. So I would say that Badger looks quite old. He's got a waistcoat on, a shirt and a tie, so he's got quite smart. And badgers, like foxes, they are nocturnal. So they sleep in the day and they wake up at night. So maybe this badger's a friend of the foxes? Oh, I don't know. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Oh, we don't know yet. But we'll meet him and learn about him in chapter 12. So, shall we get started? Chapter 11. A surprise for Mrs. Fox. The small fox ran back along the tunnel as fast as he could, carrying the 3 plump hens, which means the 3 fat hens have got a lot of meat on them. He was exploding with joy. Just wait, he kept thinking. Just wait till Mummy sees these. He had a long way to run, but he never stopped once on the way, and he came bursting in upon Mrs. Fox. "Mummy!" he cried out of breath. "Mummy, look! Wake up and see what I've brought you." Mrs. Fox, who was weaker than ever now from lack of food, opened one eye and looked at the hens. "Oh, I'm dreaming," she murmured, and she closed her eye again. So, Mrs. Fox, remember, she's very weak. Here she is. She's looks like she's in bed. She's very weak, and she's opened one eye. She's had a look, but she thinks she's dreaming. Why would she think she's dreaming? She's dreaming. She's dreaming because she doesn't believe that there's any food. I think for so long they haven't had any food, so she thinks she's dreaming. She thinks she can see the food. She thinks it's not really there, but it is there. "You're not dreaming, Mummy. They're real chickens. We're saved. We're not going to starve." So, look at Mrs. Fox's face now. Mrs. Fox opened both eyes and sat up quickly. "But my dear," she cried, "what on earth?" "Boggis's chicken house number 1, spluttered the small fox. "We tunnelled right up under the floor. You've never seen so many big fat hens in your life. And Dad said to prepare a feast. They'll be back soon." The sight of food seemed to give her a new strength to Mrs. Fox. "A feast it shall be," she said, standing up. "Oh, what a fantastic fox your father is." Oh, look, there it is again. Fantastic Fox. That's where his name comes from. Everyone keeps calling him Fantastic. "Hurry up, child. Start plucking those chickens." So what they're doing is they're taking all the feathers out because we don't eat the feathers of the chicken. Far away down the tunnel, the fantastic Mr. Fox was saying, "Now for the next bit, my darlings. This one will be easy as pie. All we have to do is dig another little tunnel from here to here." "To where, Dad?" "Don't ask so many questions. Start digging." So this is Fantastic Mr. Fox's new plan. He's saying we're digging a tunnel from where they are now to somewhere else. Now, where do you think they would be digging the other tunnel to? It's a mystery, isn't it? Have you come up with some good ideas? Well, let's see if you're right. Oh, that was the end of that chapter. So chapter 12 is Badger. So maybe we'll find Badger in this new location. I wonder where he lives. Mr. Fox and the 3 remaining small foxes dug fast and straight. They were all too excited now to feel tired or hungry. They knew they were going to have a whacking great feast before long, which means a really, really big feast. And they were going to eat. Made them gurgle with laughter every time they thought of it. It was lovely to realise while the fat farmer was sitting up on the hill waiting for them to starve, he was also giving them dinner without knowing it. "Keep digging," said Mr. Fox. "It's not further. It's not much further." Ooh, so we're going to find out now, where does Badger live, or where is Badger? All of a sudden, a deep voice from above their heads said, "Who goes there?" The foxes jumped. They looked up quickly and they saw, peeking through a small hole in the roof of the tunnel, a long, black, pointy face. "Badger!" cried Mr. Fox. "Foxy!" cried Badger. "My goodness me, I'm glad I found someone at last. I've been digging around in circles for 3 days and nights, and I haven't had the foggiest idea where I am." Badger made a hole in the ceiling bigger and dropped down beside the foxes. A small badger, his son, dropped down after him. "Haven't you heard what's happening on the hill?" Badger said excitedly. "It's chaos. Half the wood has disappeared, and there are men with guns all over the countryside. None of us can get out even at night. We're starving to death." So not only have the farmers blocked the foxes in, but they've also blocked a lot of the wildlife in. They're saying that none of us can get out, not even at night, which would be when they would usually get out because they're nocturnal. And it says, well, they're starving to death. So not only the fox is really hungry, but the badger is, and all the other animals as well. So I wonder if the foxes and the badger will form an alliance, and I wonder if they will help each other. Let's see. Teamwork is good, so maybe they'll all work together. "Who is we?" asked Mr. Fox. "All us diggers. That's me, Mole, Rabbit, and all of our wives and children. Even Weasel, who can usually sneak out of the tightest spots, is right now hiding in a hole with Mrs. Weasel and 6 kids. What on earth are we going to do, Foxy? I think we've finished." So he's saying that he thinks we're all finished, which means they're going to starve to death. So they've got, obviously, you've got all of the diggers, he's called it. So they're all the animals that burrow. So you've got Mole, you've got Rabbit, or obviously all of their wives and children. You've got Weasel and his wife and children. And you've obviously got the fox and badger. So all of those animals, they're in a really tight situation, and they all think that they're not going to make it because they're too hungry. Mr. Fox looked at his 3 children and smiled. The children looked back at him, sharing his secret. "My dear old badger," he said, "this mess you're in is all my fault." "I know it's your fault," said Badger furiously, "and the farmers are not going to give up until they've got you. Unfortunately, that means us as well. It means that everyone up on the hill." Badger sat down and put a paw around his small son. "We're done for," he said softly. "My poor wife up there is so weak she can't dig another yard." So if you have a look now, their faces, Badger is feeling like there's no escape, which is what Fox felt like initially. And Badger is furious. Here it says here he's furious. It means he's really, really cross. But he's cross with Fox because it's his fault. So I wonder if they are going to work together, or maybe Badger's too cross with Fox. "Nor can mine," said Mr. Fox, "and yet this very minute she's preparing for me and my children the most delicious feast of plump, juicy chickens." "Stop!" cried Badger. "Don't tease me. I can't stand it." "It's true," cried the small foxes. "Dad is not teasing. We've got chickens galore." "And because of everything is entirely my fault," said Mr. Fox, "I invite you to share my feast. I invite everyone to share it, Mole and Rabbit and Weasel and all your wives and children. There'll be plenty to go around, I assure you." So now Mr. Fox is very excited because what's he going to do? He is going to share his feast with everybody else. Although I'm not sure how he's going to share his feast with Rabbit, because rabbits don't eat meat. They eat vegetables. They are herbivores, whereas Badger and Foxes are carnivores, which means they eat meat. You mean it? Cried Badger. You really mean it? Mr. Fox pushed his face close to Badger's and whispered darkly, do you know where we've just been? Where? Right inside Boggus's chicken house number 1. No. Yes. But that is nothing to where we're going now. You have to come at the right moment, my dear Badger. You can help us dig. In the meanwhile, your small son can run back to Mrs. Badger and all the others and spread the good news. Mr. Fox turned to the small Badger and said, tell them we're invited to the Fox's feast. Then bring them back down here and follow the tunnel back until you find my home. Yes, Mr. Fox, said the small Badger. Yes, sir, right away, sir. Oh, thank you, sir. He scrambled quickly back through the hole in the roof of the tunnel and disappeared. So the fox and his family are going to work together with the other animals, and they are going to create a team, which will actually make the team much stronger. Well, that unfortunately is the end of our 2 chapters today, but I wonder what's going to happen tomorrow. So Mr. Fox is sharing his feast with all the other animals, which is very nice of him. So I think that they will create a team, and maybe together they'll be stronger. But the one thing I'm unsure of, maybe you can help me. Where do you think Mr. Fox is going to dig to next? He's got a plan. Where's he going to dig to next? Maybe you could write that in the comments. Where's he going to dig to next? And then tomorrow we'll see if you were right. I bet you're going to come up with some great ideas. Right, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.